Alright guys, I was pretty conflicted about recording this video because I've already recorded all this stuff before. But here it is anyway. It's the test review. I'm just going to touch on a few topics. I'm not really going to go in depth. By the way, when you're reviewing for this test, okay, notice at the top of each page, I hope you can see this. I don't know if you can or not on that video. But if you look at the top of each section, it's got a date. That's the week's date on Schoology if you want to access the material. So this first one says like from 12/19 through 12/23, so that'll be the title of the week. It says Monday, go to Monday stuff, and then it's adding and subtracting polynomials. So you can watch a video on Schoology from this day, okay, if you wanted to. So I'm just going to touch on some of these ideas here. I'm going to do number, let's say, 5, 9, and 11 from this first section. So number 5. And this is just adding and subtracting polynomials, real easy stuff. 3a squared. Essentially what it comes down to is combining like terms. So your first objective is to get rid of all the parentheses. So this one's really easy to get rid of because it's positive out here. So you don't really have to multiply anything in. So this one has a negative in front. So before I get rid of this parentheses, I need to make sure, because what's happening is I'm subtracting everything in that parentheses. So that 4 is going to be a negative. That 2 is going to be a negative. But right here, this is really easy. So I'm just going to rewrite this because it's positive. I don't need to change anything to drop those parentheses. Now, the second set of parentheses, there's going to be a negative 4. I need to change the signs in here because of that negative on the outside. And it's going to be a negative 2. Negative 2a squared, like that. Okay, so now I've rewritten the problem without parentheses. Notice how these signs have changed, but that's the only thing that's really changed in the problem. Now it's truly combining like terms. So first thing I want you to notice is 3a squared and negative 2a squared. So because they both have a squareds, I can combine them. All right, so I have 3 of them here, and I have minus 2 of them here. So when I combine them, I'm going to end up with just 1. A squared. And I could put a 1 out here, but it really doesn't matter. So when I just put a squared, that's kind of known as just having a 1 in the front. All right. So this plus 1 and that minus 4 are the same also because both of them, they don't have variables at the end. Okay. So there's just 1 minus 4, which is minus 3 when we're combining like terms. And that's all my like terms. And that's my final answer. So I'm going to keep working these. I think I said number 9 and 11. So that was the first one, which is number 5. Number 9 is actually a trinomial added to another trinomial. So negative 4k to the 4th plus 14 plus 3k squared. That's all in a parentheses. Plus negative 3k to the 4th minus 14k squared minus 8. So hopefully you can see that whole thing on there. But if not, then just go on Schoology and download this worksheet. That's the worksheet I'm working off of. I'm on number 9 on the first section. All right. So when I drop these parentheses, again, this one's not going to change because it's a positive. So that's minus 4. Is that somebody knocking on this door? So that's a minus 4, 14, and a 3. Okay, so I'm just going to rewrite that, no problem. And on this parenthesis right here, okay, I don't have to change anything either because look, it's positive. So on the last one, notice it was a negative. If you're confused about what I'm talking about, rewind the video. Watch how on the last one, because it was a negative, I had to change the signs. This one, it's a positive, so the signs are just going to stay the same. So that's a minus 3k to the 4th minus 14k squared and a minus 8. Okay, now I can, because the parentheses have dropped, I can just combine all my like terms. So I have a negative 4k to the 4th and a negative 3k to the 4th, totaling to be a negative 7k to the 4th. And notice I'm always starting with the biggest degree too, and that doesn't matter so much, but in order to keep things orderly, I always do biggest to smallest. That's typically how it's done. So I have 3k squared, and here's more k squareds. So I have 3k squareds and minus 14k squared over here. So I have negative 11k squared. Right here I have a 14 and an 8. So these are combining. Positive 14, negative 8. That's going to be a positive 6. And that's going to be my final answer there. Okay. I'm not really going to finish this entire one. I'm just going to talk about it real quick. Minus 6a minus 10a cubed. This is all minus 10a minus 2a to the 5th, and then minus 14a to the 4th. Okay, so like I said, I'm not going to finish it. I'm just going to talk about it. Rewrite this without parentheses. So this one, nothing changes. So it's going to be positive, negative, negative. This one, because that's negative, all these are going to change. So that's going to be a negative. This is going to be a positive. That's going to be a positive. Rewrite it, combine your like terms, then you're done. All right, next section. Multiplying polynomials. So this one's really easy. I'm going to go ahead and do number 5. Number 5 is 2n cubed times 8n squared minus 3nb plus 5b squared. Okay, so when you're multiplying out polynomials, pretty much everything on the outside of a parentheses needs to be distributed into that parentheses. Okay, so 2n cubed is going to need to be multiplied by this. It's going to need to be multiplied by this. It's going to need to be multiplied by that. And then you combine your like terms. All right, so 2n cubed times 8n squared. So what I typically do is I multiply the numbers together. 2 times 8 is 16. So that's the 2 and the 8. Now n cubed times n to this n squared. So keep in mind, n cubed is just n times n times n. So there's n cubed times n squared. And once you get in the habit of it, you don't have to really keep doing that. But n cubed times n squared is n to the 5th, and you just add the exponents. So I just wanted to explain that before I started doing a lot of these. But I'm not going to explain it again. I've already explained it before. So here's n to the 5th. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. N cubed times, now look at this. Here's an n, and there's a b. So n cubed times n, I can combine those. That's going to be n to the 4th, like I said, by adding the exponent. And then you have just this random b on the end. Still needs to stay there, but there's nothing that is being really multiplied with. Okay, it doesn't change. Plus 2 times 5 is 10. N cubed, there's no n's over here, so I'm just going to keep the n cubed by itself like it was, and then b squared. Now I'm going to combine any like terms if I have any. Do I have any like terms? So this is an n to the 5th. Nope. This is an n to the 4th b. Are there any more n to the 4th b? Nope. N to the 3rd b squared. Anything like that? Nope. So that's all the combining like terms I'm going to do. So keep in mind, guys, that I don't combine b and b squared. You have to realize that when I combine like terms, I have to have an n to the 4th b to combine with that one. I have to have an n to the 3rd b squared to combine with this one. So you don't just combine the n's and the b's. The entire term, this whole thing, right after that, the number. That whole thing has to be the same to combine them. All right, I'm going to do another one. I'm going to do number 8, which is 2y plus 8. 2y plus 8 times 9y minus 6. Okay, so right here what you're seeing is, remember on the last example I said everything that's outside of a parentheses like this needs to be multiplied or distributed in. So now you have a parentheses outside of a parentheses. So everything here needs to be distributed into here. So let's start off with a 2y. 2y needs to be distributed into there. I'm going to start with that one. So 2 times 9 is 18. Y times y is y squared. Okay, that's this part. 2 times negative 6 is negative 12. Y times, there's nothing here, is just y. So now I'm done distributing 2y into that parentheses. Now I need to distribute the 8 into this parentheses. 8 times 9 is 72. and then nothing times that y is going to be, so the y is just going to stay. Then 8 times negative 6 is going to be negative 48. Okay, now I'm done distributing the 8 into everything in here. So now everything in this parentheses has been distributed to everything in this parentheses. I need to combine my like terms. 18y squared minus, it's not going to be minus. So notice my like terms here, this one and this one, they're both just y's. So I have a negative 12y here, a positive 72y there, so I've got positive 60y altogether when I combine those two. And then at the end, minus 48. So that's my final expression after I've multiplied that out. Hey, come on in. Okay, let's see. So that was a monomial times a polynomial. Then I did a binomial times a binomial. I'm going to do one more. Let's see if there's anything really difficult on here. Okay, here's one. My last one, next section. So, and guys, remember, on this, every single part, if you want to look up the first video I recorded, then just look at the title and what I titled it, and that's where you can find that video. So I'm going to do one more. 2s plus 3 multiplied by s squared plus 4s plus 3. Okay, so again, everything in this parentheses needs to be distributed to everything in this parentheses. All right, so I'm going to start off with my 2s. 2s times s squared. So 2 times, there's just a 1 here, remember? So just 2 times 1 is just the regular 2. S times s squared is s cubed. Remember, you combine those or you add the exponents. So this is like a first power. All right, so that's the first one. Second one, 2 times 4 is 8. S times s is s squared. Next one. 2 times 3 is 6. S times, there's nothing there, so it's just going to stay as a regular s. Now I'm done distributing this to everything in there. Now I'm going to do the 3. 3 times s squared, 3 s squared. 3 times 4s is going to be 12s. 3 times 3 is going to be 9. Okay, I've distributed this. Oh, I didn't put these out, but I distributed this to everything over there. Now I just need to combine my like terms. So I'm going to start with my biggest degree. So right here, 2s cubed. And there's no other cube, so I'm not combining like terms with anything else there. Squared, so I have 8s squared and 3s squared. That's going to be a total of 11s squared. Okay, I have 6s and 12s. That's going to be a total of 18s. And then I have a 9. And that's it. Okay, that's about as complicated as multiplying really gets. All right, hopefully that's still recording because it looks like this thing is telling me that it's low on batteries. So give me a second, I'm going to check real quick. Okay, it's still good. Whew. All right. So, solving equations, one-step equations. I'm going to go ahead and do 2 of these things real quick. I'm going to do number 12, which is negative 13 equals 4 plus x. So when you're solving an equation, you're solving for a variable. There's only one variable here, so that makes it real easy, that x. So when I'm solving, I want to get every single number that's on the same side of this equation, this side, to the other side. I want to get x by itself over here. So I have a positive 4 there. So remember, when I'm solving, I'm doing order of operations backward. Okay? So my order of operations, if I'm doing it backwards, tells me I need to start by getting rid of anything being added or subtracted. So that's at plus 4. So to get rid of plus 4, I need to do the opposite operation to undo it. So minus 4. Whatever you do to one side, you have to end up doing to the other. Okay, 4 minus 4. I don't know why I wrote equals here. Okay. Anyway, the x is going to be brought down. X is brought down. Negative 13 minus 4 is negative 17. And that's the final answer. So remember, you can check your answer by plugging it back in here and making sure that original equation works out. Hey, Elijah, is that still recording? Is it blinking? Okay, just periodically check that because I know it's going to go out any second. All right, here's another one. 21x equals negative 378. That's what I'm solving for. That means I need to get rid of the 21. All right? So 21 is being multiplied by x. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide by 21 on both sides. So x equals 21 cancels with 21. X comes down. And it equals whatever negative 378 divided by 21 is. I have no idea right off the top of my head, so I'm not even going to write it down. I would guess 18, something like that. Negative 18. I'm going to just write that. That might be wrong. You can check me on it. Okay. Those are one-step equations. I'm going to go on to two-step equations now. All right. So let's see. First one I'm going to do is number 18, which is negative 10 equals negative 10 plus 7m. So now with two-step equations, it's really important that you do the order of operations backward because there's two things to get rid of. There's that 7. If I'm solving for the m, there's the 7, and then there's the negative 10. Okay, so the question now becomes which one do I get rid of first? And the order does matter. All right, so start with anything being added or subtracted. Okay, end with anything that's in a parentheses or grouped together. So that's being subtracted. I know this says plus, but that's a plus 7 times m, okay? This is a minus 10 right here. So I need to get rid of that minus 10 by adding 10, doing the opposite operation to both sides. So notice everything on the left side cancels out. So that means 0 is what comes down. Right here, these cancel out also. So 7m is left over, so 7m comes down. Okay, so I've gotten rid of anything added or subtracted. Now I'm on to multiplication and division. So this is 7 times m. So to get rid of 7 times m, I have to do the opposite operation. Divide by 7. When I divide by 7, this 7 and that 7 cancel. 0 divided by 7 is still 0, so 0 equals m. Okay, so that's a two-step equation. Oops, I don't know why I'm erasing that. Okay. Let's go ahead and do another one. M divided by 9 minus 1 equals 2. First thing, addition and subtraction, I'm going to get rid of that minus 1 right there. So remember, I'm solving for that m, so I need to get rid of the 9 and the 1. That 2 is already on the other side, so I'm just going to leave it alone. Plus 1. Plus 1. Whatever I do to this side, I have to do to that side. So this comes down. Divided by 9 comes down. 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, now I need to get rid of the divide by 9. So to get rid of divide by 9, I multiply by 9 on each side. These cancel. M equals 3 times 9 is 27. So remember, all we're doing is just inverse operations, guys. If it's division, I multiply to get rid of it. If it's addition, I subtract to get rid of it. If it's subtraction, I add to get rid of it. Okay? If it's multiplication, then I would divide to get rid of it. You're just doing whatever's the opposite. All right? And again, if you have any further questions, you can come to me, or you can just go back and find that video that I recorded on that day. Okay, now I'm going to do a little bit tougher of one. N plus 5 divided by negative 16 equals negative 1. Now this is tougher because what you have to realize about this is that n and 5 are both being divided by negative 16. Okay? So what you want to do is realize that these are actually grouped together. So you want to treat this like it's in a parentheses. Even though it isn't actually in a parentheses, you need to treat it like it is because it's grouped together. So think about order of operations backward. The very last thing you want to touch is anything in a parentheses, okay? Or anything that's grouped together. So first thing I actually do, because there's no regular addition or subtraction, first thing I want to do is get rid of that divided by negative 16. So remember, to get rid of divide, I need to multiply by negative 16 on both sides. These cancel, so I have n plus 5 equals, so the n plus 5, this part came down, n plus 5 equals negative 1 times negative 16 is positive 16. Yeah, that's kind of a weird one. All right. Next thing I can do, now notice that because this is not over 16, it's not being divided by anything, it's no longer groups. Now I can get rid of that plus 5 by subtracting 5 from both sides. So n equals 16 minus 5 is 11. And again, if I wanted to check my answer and make sure I did it right, I can come back up here and plug it in. Okay? So, let's see, is there any other, let's do one more. One more two-step equation. I'll do one with a fraction on it. We're going to do 2 over 3g plus 6 equals negative 12. Okay, so when I see a fraction multiplied by a variable, sometimes that confuses a lot of people. What you need to do, and what's going to help you a lot, is realizing that this fraction, this is just times 2, whatever's on top is multiplication, divided by 3. Whatever's on bottom is division. So you could also rewrite this. The exact same thing is this. So you have 2 times g divided by 3. That's going to help a lot when you're actually simplifying that. So again, multiplication and division, those are going to come after we get rid of anything that's just being regular added or subtracted. This is regular addition, so I'm getting rid of that. Doing the opposite. These cancel. I have 2/3 g. That's going to come down. Negative 12 minus 6 is going to be negative 18. So now, to get rid of times 2 and divide by 3, let's just do it one step at a time. Let's get rid of the divide by 3 first. I'm going to multiply by 3. Whatever I do to this side, I have to do to the other. So I have the 2 and the g left. So 2 times g is left over. Negative 18 times 3 is negative 54. I hope I did that right. Next part, I have 2 times g, so I'm going to get rid of the 2 by dividing it by 2. So I have g equals negative 27. Okay, that's all the video I'm going to record. Hopefully it's still recording. I'm going to see. Yep. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, let me know in class. Come find me, whatever. All right? Just make sure you take care of your business.